Good evening, welcome to June 16, 2025, Common Council, City of Connersville. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Sherman McQueen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd like to remain standing for the invocation, Pastor.
Thank you for allowing me to give this invocation tonight. Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. Let's pray. Loving God and faithful Father, we thank you that you listen to us. Please help us listen to each other. Enlighten those gathered this evening as they meet together, so that each will have a clear understanding of the issues needed to be discussed. Give those involved clarity of purpose, as well as what objectives they should accomplish in this meeting. May these objectives drive each one to actively participate, rather than to just passively listen. And I pray as wisdom and understanding are applied, that the desired outcome will be achieved. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. I remind you to please turn your cell phone ringers. We will begin with roll call.
Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
Councilman Robb.
Present.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Councilwoman McQueen.
Present.
Okay, everyone has the minutes from the June 2nd, 2025 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on to new business. We have Adam Stone with Stone Municipal. Adam?
Very good, thank you, Mayor. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, jump up a little bit.
Sounds good. Well, hey, I appreciate everybody. It's good to see everyone. I have a budget update for 2026 as we get ready to start putting those estimates together. I understand this may or may not be in your packets. We can happily submit all of this if you need it. I'll be concise tonight, as just to be respectful to other agenda items, but certainly if there's anything that you have questions about or you want to discuss further, please let me know. Contact information is being provided as well, so that way for any council members with respect to the budget, if you have any questions, we have total transparency in that process. Let me share my screen. Can you see that okay there, John?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So a couple things here as far as kickoff. We wanted to talk about just the overall budget calendar so that residents could see what the anticipated dates are this fall we're working towards from a city budget perspective, as well as there's been quite a bit of legislative change as well this year that we wanted to work through, so wanted to provide an update on that as well. So we'll start with what has changed. There's been a large, massive overhaul with respect to residential assessed values. I'll cover that in more detail in our advisory report, but generally speaking, there's a major shift to local income tax. There's a reduced reliance on business personal property tax in general. For growing communities such as Connersville, there was a removal of the 3-year growth appeal. There is some additional constraints put on shorter term duration general obligation bonds, as well as some new neutralization and safeguards as well in light of some of these changes. Again, I'll cover more detail here in a moment. As far as budget assumptions, there's a couple key changes. One is the levy growth quotient remains at 4% for 2026, so the maximum levy growth is a 4% increase next year. We're going to continue to work through and prioritize sort of essential capital replacements. We'll work to continue to do everything we can to optimize revenues outside of property tax. Another big one that would be important for Connersville would be that the 1977 police and fire pension that covers Connersville police and fire, its contribution rate on the employer side is set to increase again from 20.3% of wages to 23.3% of wages. That is something we have communicated with this council in the past. A few years ago, it was around 17.5%. It's increased. I continue to anticipate this actually increases up to around 25%. I think that's kind of where the trends are going here, but in any event, for payrolls on or after January 1st, 2026, we'll see a more than 10% increase in pension liability, pension contribution liability for all police and fire. One of the changes we're making this year for all budgets is to make sure we build out a 3-year budget plan. So when you see the new legislative actions go out until 2031, there is some conversation that there may be amendments and those types of things, but none of that is in state law. So we're going to proceed conservatively here and make sure we have a 3-year model that sustains budget balance through that duration. And I have a handout that I can leave today as well. So as far as the budget timeline, we're officially underway. The budget for Connersville starts. It's really a full year exercise. We're always amending, always updating. But as far as the formal public budget, really the next several weeks we'll be working with department heads, working with the mayor, working with you all to solicit requests, changes, etc. We'll compile and calculate all of those requests, as well as start making the necessary public notice and calculations for your all's consumption. Right now, tentatively, we're working towards the October 6th council meeting for the public hearing, and tentatively the second reading and hopefully budget adoption by October 20th. The state deadline is November 1st this year, so budgets have to be adopted by then or they revert to the current year budget, in other words, the 2025 budget. So broadly speaking, we're looking at trying to have all the department requests in for review by no later than the end of July, so that it gives us the month of August to share estimates with you all, work through any sort of prioritization of requests, and work to balance the budget prior to the September notices and public meetings. I'll jump over a couple quick things and then just open it up. So the full detailed calendar is here. We're well on our way. Happy to share these periodically as we go. We're working on all these July 15th deadlines right now, and we'll be working closely with the clerk treasurer and the mayor to execute those. We have the budget workshop scheduled at the Department of Local Government Finance on August 22nd, which is a good time in this case because we'll essentially be near final at that point, and we'll be making sort of our final drafts for the council presentations around that time. So for the department heads that are listening, we'll be working to start to schedule meetings with them. Our hope is to have those meetings largely completed and all those requests back by the end of July. One of the aspects that we're waiting on is we're going to get through the first half of 2025 to make sure we have good reconciled actuals through the end of this month, so that when we meet with departments, we have good fresh numbers. But I would encourage anyone who's listening to go ahead and start putting together your requests for any positions, changes, etc. If you haven't yet already, communicate those to the mayor. The next thing that may be relevant, we have been tracking the consumer price index each month. This actually just came out about a week ago. This is May 2025. This is year over year. Essentially it's an inflation estimate. We use this for budget trending, we use this for payroll trending, etc. And the all items metric, which is what we typically look towards, was 2.4% year over year. This actually ticked up. April over April was around 2.3. The forecast was 2.5, so it came in a little softer than the forecast. But you can see how it's trended plus or minus by month. So it ticked up 10 basis points month over month, but has definitely slowed. And then for those that are interested, you can dig through this. And so the all items was 2.4% year over year, but certain, obviously different things. Some things went up, some things went down year over year. So we use the all items for our general forecast, but then certain things for like fuel, services, utilities, those kind of things, we made more specific aspect. Lastly, and I'll just touch on this because there's a lot in this document, I would encourage you to read through the handout as well. It talks about the new reform. It talks about all the new deductions, the phase-in of those deductions, calculations of those, how they impact net assessed valuation, how they impact net assessed valuation on an example, Connersville, Indiana homestead, the credit calculation, the credit formulas, the deductions. It's pretty detailed as far as the new mathematical calculations. It introduces the new local income tax restructuring, which is something we'll definitely want to talk to the council in a future workshop about. The existing local income tax structure, including the public safety LOID that was just recently enacted, is all set to expire December 31st, 2027. So a replacement measure needs to be considered if you want that to remain. So I'd encourage you to look at that. And then really starting on page 6 through 10, there's a variety of different budget best practices and recommendations. These are things we're going to be specifically focusing on this budget cycle. Everything from, trying to make sure we're prioritizing park amenities that are cash producing. There's municipal wheel tax, reestablishment, pilot, a lot of different just best practices we're seeing in communities that are trying to respond to the new legislation, as well as trying to become not only budget neutral with the bill, but also actually come out a little budget positive. So there's a lot of ideas and options in here. Some of these are more of a fit for Connersville than others, so we will be going through and working with departments and working with staff to try to assess fit on any of those, as well as council this year, just to make sure that we are, doing our diligence each year to make sure that your budget is as optimized as it can be. With that, I'll pause and see if there are any questions or comments that you have for me this evening.
Any questions for Adam? One thing I want to just clarify was on the max levy growth quotient in 2026. I know when they were talking about it, they were going to keep it at 0, but they did get that up to 4% because I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it did. One of the final amendments did put that back in, so it's a 4% for next year.
Okay, and then
which is a good amendment because one of the prior drafts had 0.
Yeah, that's the one we were looking at was 0. So that's what I want to clarify that. And the second one was all the lit taxes go away by December of 2027. When do they have to be reestablished? When do we have to reestablish all those? What's the deadline for that?
In order to have no gap, it would have to be part of the fall 2027 budget.
So
we are seeing communities consider early adoption of that, and that is actually one of our recommendations in the report as well.
So
there are a couple legislative sessions between now and that season, so there may be changes to that language. But as we sit right now in state law, sort of the best practice would be no later than the fall of 2027, and there are communities that are looking at adopting that early just to make sure that they have been proactive in response of what the state has done.
I'm also looking to be proactive, but I also want to be very cautious with something because of the tax caps. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. They always complain because our lit taxes are higher than a lot of people in the state, but we also have a large portion that we don't collect. It goes to offset your property tax. If we do it too early, it can really impact the caps on that and the levy. That's a tough calculation on how you figure that. So I just want the council to understand as we're watching both sides, because it could be a really negative impact on those caps. Anybody have any questions or comments for him moving forward? Thank you, sir.
Hey, my pleasure. My contact information is in the memo attached, and if there's any questions you have, please let me know. We always appreciate the engagement, especially around budget. And what we'll do is maybe once a month or so, we'll join in here and give you an update on that calendar, let you know what's going on as far as what we're hearing. And as far as the budget calculations, if you have any questions or want to review any of that, just let me know. We're happy to share drafts. Thank you all so much, and have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay, move down to item B, C, and D. We can take resolutions 2025-35, transfer, 36 reimbursement, and 37 reimbursement. Rosemary.
Resolution 2025-35 is a resolution to transfer $35,000 from Airport Trust Indiana into Airport Non-Reverting. Resolution 2025-36 is a resolution to reimburse $139 into cable, other contractual. Resolution 2025-37 is a resolution to reimburse $5,460 into council unemployment.
Any questions? Have a motion to approve resolutions 2025-35, 36, 37.
So
Have a motion, did I hear a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Item E, we have pending ordinance 3989, which would be ordinance 7049. We talked about this, I believe it was last meeting, scheduled public hearing. This is for the, I have to open up a public hearing, but just to explain everything, it's for the transfer station improvements. We were taking MVH money. No, I'm sorry, was it MVH or Riverboat? I'm getting confused.
it's Riverboat.
Riverboat, okay, thank you. I knew I was gonna say that wrong. When we use our ARP dollars, we use it for equipment, and we let the Riverboat Fund build. We only get a very small amount from Riverboat for the last 4 years. We just let build. We didn't wanna use that because we knew there would be an expiration date on our ARP money, so we let the Riverboat build. So that's where this money's gonna come from, is for re-asphalting all the asphalt around there. The scale needs to be replaced. It's for a brand new scale. It's for pouring the pads for the compactors for the recycling. And we have a scale house being built by the WCC, just to cover all that. But there's some money that we had saved up from ARPA, so it's not gonna be the full amount. And then I put a little bit of extra in there because we gotta get a wire from the scale house to the new scale. We just wanna make sure we don't have any caveats. I do have a contingency in there of, I think I put 10%. I don't think we'll come anywhere near this. One of the reasons I don't know exactly what that scale house is gonna cost, because they only charge me their construction costs. They don't make money on this, so. But I can't see that being too much. So the maximum amount I asked there was the 274. Then we had to do the grant professional services at 20,000 from the ARP fund. But I'm not gonna go over that amount. There's nothing gonna come close. But the asphalt is gonna be pretty extensive. If you notice, we have a lot of standing water at the transfer station. So this also helped get that water off. There's some drainage over there by the new plant to get rid of that water. But the compactor is really the big issue. That's covering the wiring to get it there. Right now, we haul out, the compactor will save 3 trips for every dumpster, so it's gonna save us a lot of money in the compactor. Less trip charge. The trip charge is what they get us, very expensive, so that's why we're doing all this. And if you were here for the Board of Works, Jeremy was talking about, we've had a large increase of new people dumping, and this is really gonna streamline our flow. So right now, you have to pull in and weigh, drive around, wait in line. A lot of people cut in line because they really don't know what to do, so they just cut in line, go up there, kind of makes everyone mad. And then you have to dump, go back around, weigh, park, walk all the way up, pay your fine, your ticket, and then get down and leave. Now, you'll just be able to pull in, weigh in, go to the scale house. We're widening the driveway going up there. You can see some of it's gravel now. That'd be 2 lanes to dump, so they'll tell you either door A or door B. You can dump, you go way in, you go to the scale house, you pay at the scale house. We got, Rosemary has been researching for the credit card processing and all kinds of, not just credit card processing, you have to take care of point of sale system, there we go. And everything will be done right there, so none of this cross traffic, and it'll be a lot easier getting out of this, of the transfer station, so. That's the reasoning behind all this, and the asphalt is in really bad condition. So, I'll open up for the public hearing for the, ordinance 7049, for the Riverboat Fund for the transfer station improvements. Anyone have any comments on this? Okay, I will close the public hearing and open it up for council questions or comments. If there's no questions or comments, so I have a motion to approve pending ordinance 3989, ordinance number 7049.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion for third and final reading?
Motion.
I have a motion. Did you second, sir?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. And item F, we have resolution 2025-38, the fluoride removal resolution. F, you want to read that, sir?
Sure. So this is a resolution to remove fluoride compounds from the public water supply. Whereas the Connersville Utilities currently adds fluoride compounds to municipal water supply as a public health measure aimed at reducing dental cavities. Whereas the purpose of informed consent suggests that no medical or pharmaceutical or pharmacological intervention should be administered without the individual's voluntary agreement and full understanding of the associated risks and benefits. Whereas the city of Connersville seeks to uphold the rights of its residents to access clean, unmedicated drinking water and to ensure that public health measures are applied transparently and with community support. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Connersville that fluoride removal directive, the city hereby directs the Connersville Utilities to cease the addition of all fluoride compounds to the public water supply effective June 16th, 2025. This is the proposed ordinance for tonight. That would then be signed, or proposed resolution, I apologize. And it would be passed and adopted by the County Council, City of Connersville, the 16th day of June 2025 if it were to pass tonight. They obviously are not going to make a decision until they have a public hearing, and then they'll vote.
Okay, we have the public hearing. We're going to open up. Rosemary has a clock. We do 5 minutes. You just come up to the podium, state your name, address, and have our speak. So I will now.
Address?
I need your address, sir. I will open up the public hearing.
Whichever.
Whichever.
Dr. Thomas Christie, 2176 North County Road 200 West, residential, 2628 Western Business. 2 weeks ago, I'm a member of the Fayette County Board of Health, and at this meeting we discussed the fluoride issue. And from all of the members on the board, we received unanimous consent from our board that fluoride should stay in the water. This is the recommendation that is written that I'll read to you. The Fayette County Board of Health and our county health officers support the continuation of the added fluoride to our drinking water as it is necessary to the health and well-being of our community. The added fluoride is essential and a positive component to preventing tooth decay. Not only does it impact oral care, it also suppresses development of other chronic health issues. Fluoride has been recognized as a crucial public health measure that contributes significantly to the prevention of tooth decay. This prevention measure is especially important for those with limited access to care, as it is affordable and an effective means of maintaining oral health. Medical professionals who sit on our board have reported seeing the reduction of cavities in their patients since Fayette County added fluoride to the city water supply since the late 1990s. In conclusion, we would strongly urge the governing board to continue this practice as it has benefited our community's oral health. Thank you for your attention to this important issue and for your commitment to the well-being of our residents. Sincerely, Dr. Wayne White.
Probably better off to give it to the mayor.
Can I keep that?
Okay.
Is that a yes? Can I keep this?
Yes, I can make a copy. In addition, during our discussions, we have physicians on our board, Dr. Wayne White, Dr. Tan, Dr. Bradley Boy, and myself as a dentist. I point blank asked the physicians, Dr. Tan of which is a pediatrician, I said, in the 25 years since we've had fluoride in the water, have there been any diagnosed cases of neurotoxicity in our population? They said they've never heard of such thing. The answer is 0. So, based on maybe one of the objections of having fluoride in the water, there is no evidence of neurotoxicity in our population at the prescribed levels. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to clarify something I didn't. When you got 5 minutes, if council asks a question, that will extend your time, by the way. So I do want to clarify that. Anyone else?
John R. Roberts, CDS, local dentist, and it's my hometown. My business address is 724 North Grand Avenue, Connersville. Trying to address some of the objections, just arguments that they get enough fluoride in toothpaste, mouthwashes, whatever. even using those, which are effective, you can still get 25% reduction with fluoridated water on top of that. That's a lot, 25%. You know, when I first came here, you've heard the stories, kids were a mess. Abscesses, haven't taken to hospitals, on and on. There's no reason to put them through that suffering. So this is a very easy, effective way. If you don't want it in your home water, buy a filter. Not that expensive. Studies about neurotoxicity have been done in Australia, New Zealand, for I think it was 38 years with follow-up of over 96%, zero neurotoxicity effects. Matter of fact, it helps their health. Workforce is increased because they're not missing work with pain and suffering. So please don't undo what we managed to accomplish over the last few decades. I mean, I would feel very guilty to vote against this, to vote to remove the fluoride. There's already fluoride in the water. We just don't have enough to be effective. So if you think a naturally occurring mineral is medication, then take everything out. Just, you know, let's have distilled water, because that's basically what that argument consists of. So it's been proven safe. It's a great public health measure. I urge you to keep fluoridation. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Jack Willis, 2063 Ohio Avenue. I've researched this fluoride from experts from different colleges and the Cleveland Clinic study like that, and predominantly they agree that we should have fluoride. You've just heard from two experts that know more than any of us in here do. I strongly suggest that we take the message that they gave us and keep it in the water. Thank you.
Brian Moore,
Just
I have
Dr.
an office
Moore.
on
Just a
210
second.
Dr.
Street.
Moore. Wait a
Just a
minute.
second.
Let her reset the clock.
I'm sorry. What was that again?
Let her reset. I don't want to cut you short.
I don't hear too well, so you don't have to yell.
Oh, this is junk.
I have a clock on my phone if you want to use it.
John?
It worked earlier.
There you go. She got it.
She's
She got it.
I got it.
There you go.
Okay. So anyway, my first hand.
What's your name again? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Brian Morris. I work over at 210 West 7th Street. My first-hand account of practicing carnival for 23 years and 25 years overall as a dentist, I've seen the effects of fluoridation in the community, and the general oral health has improved tremendously. When I began practicing a few years back in 2002, after fluoride was implemented in the water system, the non-fluoridated effects from the young children, teens, and adults were very visible. And kids and adolescents especially had lots of cavities, abscesses, pain, and just toothaches. And I've seen a big improvement since they were placed in the water. And that's just my, empirical view of things. I'm not giving any data or anything like that, but as the data is there. But from what I've seen, that's what I can tell. Okay. Thank you. You have any questions with that?
Thank you.
I'm Jill Burns. I'm a dentist in Richmond, Indiana. It's 1836 West Main, Richmond, 47370. You challenged us last time to bring proof of the lack of neurotoxicity. You've heard from my compatriots about it. I actually, and maybe you got these.
Everything
This
was
is
sent to me. I emailed up. Dr.
okay. Well,
Roberts did
these
the
are
same thing.
summaries of the studies that Dr. Roberts talked about from Sweden, Australia, and Italy.
Everyone
May I
has it.
approach, they already got them?
Yeah, I emailed everything Dr. Roberts
Okay,
sent.
well, there are 10 there. What it just basically shows is that one study that was talked about last time. I believe the fluoride recommended level is 0.7. The neurotoxicity happened in China and India at 11.5, which is almost 15 times what we have here in the States. All the other studies, not one of them said that there was a deficit. Actually, in one study, they showed a benefit for IQ. So I just wanted to let you know that. You heard all my testimony last time. I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the chance to be here this evening. I'm Doug Bush, Executive Director of the Indiana Dental Association. My address is 905 Ramblin Road in Greenwood, Indiana. So I made the drive down 74 to visit with you tonight. Last time I was with you, I brought some documents. Most of them were from the American Dental Association, the American Academy of Pediatric Dentists, other dental-related groups. I took a little bit different tact tonight, if I could leave these documents with you. There are two stapled together as a single document. The one in the back is from a clinical neurologist who is a professor at the Yale University School of Medicine. And the 3 or 4 page report that he writes is basically debunking the myth that has been circulating for years that fluoride somehow is harmful. One would think that a clinical neurologist at School of Medicine at Yale would be aware of that if it was a problem, but he addresses that very directly. The other is, at the front, is from the Department of Health and Human Services, the Center for Disease Control. I want to call your attention to the 3rd paragraph on that first page. It says, tooth decay is one of the most common chronic diseases among American children, with 1 in 4 children living below the federal poverty level experiencing untreated tooth decay. Untreated decay can cause pain, school absences, difficult concentrating, poor appearance, all contributing toward a decreased quality of life. And the reason why I want to point this out, and Dr. Roberts referred to it, the fact that even with all of the other tools available in the dental office with the preventive treatments and the fluoride toothpaste and the fluoride varnishes, even with all of those, community water fluoridation still reduces tooth decay by 25%. 25%. And the article goes on to say, if you read a little bit further, that those that do experience decay, the 75%, even with community water fluoridation, without water fluoridation, is disproportionate toward the impoverished. And you think for a minute, well, why should that make a difference? Well, the community water fluoridation is the common ground. Everybody receives the benefits from it. The dental office visits, the fluoride toothpaste, the fluoride varnishes. There are many that don't have access to those kind of care, and so the only fluoride they're getting is through the public water system, which I think is one of the reasons why it's most important. I know it's difficult for you. The rule of thumb that I've always followed is if in doubt, say no. Kind of the reverse tonight, because if you say no, that's really what we're asking you to do to the resolution that would change things. But the reality is that there are cases where the right thing to do, the evidence points toward making a change and having the fluoridation continue. The benefit is there. It's really undisputed. It is something that we hope that you'll give serious consideration to as you vote tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
My name is Amanda Melville. My address is 400 West 27th Street, Connersville, Indiana. And I would like, first of all, to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. You've heard from several medical professionals about the benefits of fluoride. I won't rehash that because I am not the expert. But I do want to address the language in the resolution that says informed consent. I know that some people are concerned about that, and they argue that individuals should have the right to choose whether they ingest fluoride. This sounds reasonable until we remember how public health actually works. We do not and cannot apply individual informed consent to every public health intervention. That would require the city to hire a medical professional to individually visit every one of the thousands of households in the city, personally speak with all the residents, explain the risks and benefits of water fluoridation, answer any and all questions they can have, ensure that people understand across all the different levels of understanding in this community, ask for informed consent, and document it all at the same time. To be clear, that's not feasible time-wise or economically. When we chlorinate our water, we do not ask every citizen to sign a waiver. When we iodize salt to prevent goiter or fortified foods with folic acid to prevent birth defects, we do not hold meetings at the grocery store to ask for consent, because public health measures are collective actions. They're based on decades of scientific evidence and are implemented to protect the entire population, especially the most vulnerable. Anybody who wants to avoid fluoride still can through filters and bottled water, but removing fluoride from the water removes the benefit for everybody. When it comes to collective public health measures, the person outside the standard should be the one responsible for avoiding it, not the general population. Simply put, if you don't like it, that's fine, but it's up to you and you alone to opt out. I urge you today to vote no on the resolution to remove the fluoride in the water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Just a second, I'll reset the clock.
I was going to provide you with my address, so I don't have to speak it publicly.
Thank you.
It will be put in the record, though.
Okay, that's fine. My name's Melissa Rose, and I just wanted to say a few things with having limited time. There's really quite a lot here. I wanted to go over informed consent, the laws. Informed consent by Indiana code means consent voluntarily given by an individual after a sufficient explanation and disclosure of the subject matter involved to enable that individual to have a general understanding of the treatment or procedure and the medically accepted alternatives, including the substantial risk and hazards inherent in the proposed treatment or procedure, and to make a knowing healthcare decision without coercion or undue influence. So to me, that means they should have never been putting fluoride in the water to begin with. This is a medical treatment, like they're saying. This is for a medical concern that they have for a small group of people that never say they want the fluoride in the water for themselves. It's always, we don't want fluoride in our water on our side. And the other side is, we think some people need it. But you never hear people saying, well, I want fluoride in my water because I can't get it any other way. Because people can get it. Anyone that wants it can find it. There was a new bill passed, SB 143, that strengthens rights for parents because of all of the craziness we had with the COVID vaccine. I'm sure that we're going to keep seeing Indiana strengthen, I mean, they've done several things to strengthen parental rights this session that I'm happy about. But this one specifically says a governmental entity may not substantially burden a parent's fundamental right to direct the upbringing, religious instruction, education, or health care of the parent's child. So, and you can read that in its entirety, but again, just the case is pretty much closed right there. We don't want it. The International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology has many dentists, this is international, that disagree with everything that they're saying. So it's not just a consensus among medical dental professionals. It's just not the ones that are in this room saying that fluoride could be dangerous. This is the organization that certifies my holistic dentist that I travel out of town to see. She's amazing. She removed my amalgam fillings which I got endowed by John Roberts when I was, a kid, those have health concerns. So as, we've learned more, it's like I'm sure they're not putting those in people because they know they're dangerous. They think that's the best thing at the time, and then science comes out and we learn that's not so safe. So anyway, fluorine is the 9th element on the periodic table. This is directly from their website. Particularly attracted to the divalent cations of calcium and magnesium, as it forms strong electronegative bonds with other chemicals, is most reactive of all nonmetal elements. This discusses how it affects the body. Let's see, so it does naturally exist, but the form that is put in our water, I believe, is a byproduct of, I'm not sure if that's the exact one we're getting, but like a byproduct of pesticide, manufacturing. Anyway, whatever, there's either mining stuff straight out of the ground and putting it in our water anyway. But it's chemically synthesized for use in community water. Fluoridation is not essential for human growth and development. You can't find anywhere where it says that it is. It's not required for any physiological processes in the human body. Consequently, no one will suffer from lack of fluoride. It readily associates with metals and is highly stable. But yeah, it's, like I said, I don't really have time to show you all the different science that I had on this. I know whenever I watched the first meeting, people got a lot longer to talk, so I didn't know it was going to be to 5 minutes, so I didn't prepare for that. Their final thoughts on fluoride exposure and human health risks. Increased sources of fluoride exposure are accompanied by increased human health risks. Therefore, it has become a necessity to reduce and work towards eliminating avoidable sources of fluoride exposure, including water fluoridation, fluoride-containing dental materials, and other fluoridated products. And they have like a 200-page paper that had a ton of stuff I was going to read that, they found as concern. So as my own statement, I would just say that I thought it was a condescending statement to hear. I didn't get your name at the meeting, but you said that like we need to be held as a higher standard as a community if the public wants to have an opinion. And I just think that's really not, I'm sure she wasn't trying to be, but that's really just not a right way to think about someone's own health care. We don't, even if someone just says, I don't feel right about it, I don't want me and my kids to have fluoride, that's enough. You don't have to have lots of scientific reasons for that. While doctors do certainly have the right to prescribe treatments to their patients and to educate the public, they don't have the right to insist that an entire population ingest any substance because they personally believe that the reward outweighs the risks.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hello, I'm Brian Gallimore. Address is 1421 North Grand Avenue, Connersville, Indiana. Is that all I have to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So legal does not necessarily always equal safe. Getting a passing grade from the federal government does not mean that water meets the latest guidelines. Legal limits for contaminants in tap water have not been updated in almost 20 years. I have a list of all the contaminants that are actually in the Connersville water supply. HAA5, which has potential effect to cancer, 37 times. HAA9, 74 times the legal limit of what it should be. Potential cancer, nitrate, cancer, that's at 8.4 times the amount. Radium is 21 times the amount. TTHMS is 49 times the amount that should be in our water. I don't feel like we need to be adding anything else or any chemicals or any poisons to our children's health. And if you consume fluoride, fluoride can actually cause the calcification of your pineal gland, and that gland is actually responsible for the melatonin and the hormones that basically regulate your sleep and wake cycles. And the calcification of fluoride may result in melatonin deficiency. And adolescents who live in higher fluoride levels in tap water experience more frequent daytime sleepiness. and exposure may contribute to increased pineal gland calcification, subsequent decreases in the nighttime melatonin production that contributes to sleep disturbances. The chronic effects of fluoride toxicity can lead to bone deformations in children. The acute effects of toxicity can occur due to accidental ingestion of high concentration of fluoride present in pesticides, insecticides. Fluoride is mainly an important component in pesticides, and food products is consumed containing high amounts of fluoride can cause severe health problems. It can cause cosmetic problem that occurs in the teeth, in which dark brown and yellow stains are noted on the teeth. It mainly happens due to excessive exposure of fluoride in the early ages. Because of the presence of high amount of fluoride, the tooth enamel becomes brittle and damaged. It can cause various problems such as pitting under the surface of teeth. It can cause demineralization with excess levels that can weaken the bones. In such conditions, a person can suffer the tooth decay or osteoporosis as a major side effect of too much fluoride in the body. Other health hazards is a high intake of fluoride can cause problems during pregnancy and can cause harm in the fetal brain. It can aggravate the impact of iodine deficiency and thyroid malfunctioning. The problems related to thyroid can even lead to permanent brain damage and mental problems in children. We have a lot of problems with children with ADHD and a lot of issues with mental health, and I think the fluoride is just another poison that we're feeding our children. And putting that into our public water doesn't give us the choice to give our children what we believe that they need. We're just going off of people who, are practicing these things, and throughout time, things always change throughout time. And the more things come out within the years into the future, we're going to find out more of the toxicity of the fluoride will give to our future children. I might not be a doctor, might not be a millionaire like some of these people in this room. I'm a simple person just like you and the majority of the Connersville people. And I feel like if these people would like to get their children treated with fluoride, they can take their kids to the dentist and they can make that choice for their child. And I don't feel like anybody needs to be making a choice for my children to ingest a poison that is not good for them. And most tooth decay actually happens from children drinking juice a lot and sugary stuff that they should not be drinking. And the parents need to be a little bit more responsible on their end and make sure that their kids have a healthy diet. So that's all I'd like to say is that I don't believe we should be adding into our system.
Okay, thank
anymore.
you.
Thank you guys.
Anyone else? Anyone?
And I also do have extra papers if you guys would like to. I brought extras if you would like to read over some of this stuff, if you'd like to.
Yeah, me too.
I'm Lori Mock, and I live at 535 John Street. And I do agree with having fluoride in the water. I have lived in counties that have not had fluoride in the water, and in that time, I've had multiple dental caries that from not being, I was active in my health and my dental hygiene, but knowing that I didn't have that when I first lived here in Connersville, we didn't have fluoride in the water. I lived in Union County, I had no dental caries at all. So there is a component that it's good to have the fluoride in the system. A lot of the people in the community too, though, they drink bottled water. They don't drink a lot of the tap water. There is pain associated with dental caries, and not all of it is from juices and pop and all that. It's from genetics, from the genetics is basically what I could say, or health problems when they were infants with medications that they were given that actually damaged the teeth and the tooth underneath the surface before they were children of school age. So it is a good thing, it's a bad thing.
but it does make a difference on pain, on if you can concentrate in school, if you can concentrate at work. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Andrew Rose, 658 South Castile Road, Connersville. I would like to yield my time to Melissa Rose, if that's doable.
No, she's already spoken.
Not allowed to do that? Okay. Well,
You get one
I
shot.
was gonna say, vote no for fluoride. We don't want it.
Thank you.
Speak for yourself.
Hey,
Excuse me?
sir, I will call it to order. We're not doing that.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. Anyone else?
Can I, Robert, go ahead. I was just gonna add something, because I already said my piece.
You've already said your piece.
Hello, Jeremy Wilson, Director of Utilities. I'll write my address down, you guys have it.
You're the director of utilities. We already got it. You're good.
So, just the background of the fluoride and the involvement and the conversations of it. I think everybody can agree that it's been a topic of conversation for quite a while now. You can dissect it so many different ways. You can, any research you find out there can show you benefits for it, against it. I think everybody just needs to take their own time to research it and come up with their own options and their decisions on if it's good for you or not, which I've been doing for the past probably 8 or 9 months. Never really had a big discussion on it. Never really needed to. Used fluoridated toothpaste pretty much my whole life. Mostly lived out in the county or the country, so I've always been on a well. I've had great teeth, regardless. Maybe it's probably to the fluoride in the toothpaste, which I agree with. Topically, it's probably a good treatment. You know, I only 50% disagree with the people behind me. I think that their jobs are great. What they do is great. I would never say a bad thing about them. And I respect each one of them. And I think in society they want you to be at odds with each other because you have a disagreement. I don't dislike any of these people because I disagree with them 50%. I think they're probably great people, great moms, dads. So kudos to them. I respect each one of them. I'll just read why I came to my decision of bringing the topic up. And that was because in my position, I came across a report that said fluoride versus the EPA. The more I read it, the more videos I watched, the more on both sides I listened to. I wasn't for or against it at this point. I was just on the fence, I guess you could say. So I'll just read it. A few reasons that persuaded my opinion in the use of ingesting fluoride, not to be confused with the outright ban of fluoride or that it's basically this, I don't believe it's safe to ingest. I believe it's probably benefit, its topical benefit is the best way to use it. This isn't in any specific order. Fluoride, if it was so beneficial from ingestion in a country where water is heavily fluoridated, why are we still suffering so much with dental decay? Because the standard American diet's trash, ultra-processed food, sugar, it ruined our teeth, and the acceptance of being told that this and that is okay when the safe levels that we're finding out more and more, that we have gotten it wrong. And that the chemicals they're putting in foods are no longer what people think is the standard of the pinnacle of health, along with your gut health. More and more people are becoming ill because our gut health is so disrupted. Fluoride can alter the gut microbiome. There are studies that show that. You can look that up for yourself. Gut health is the foundation of overall health, from immunity, digestion, metabolism, mental health, brain function. Literally over 80% of your immune system comes from your gut. So fluoride can reduce the good bacteria, making the need and proper bacteria in your mouth disrupted, leading to bad breath, poor gum health, tooth decay. When saying there's no proof that fluoride has hurt anyone, there are several studies that show that it clearly is an unreasonable risk. Without prolonged study tracking kids from conception to adulthood, we can't prove that it isn't, meaning here in Connersville. Never seen a study here in Connersville from somebody that was tracked from conception to adulthood on their use of fluoride and not having used fluoride. Why are so many kids being born with lower IQ, suffering from mental health disorders, anxiety, hormone disruption from exposure to too many endocrine disrupting chemicals like fluoride? And they are handed depressants and other questionable medication. It's hard to fathom that an organization such large as the EPA, CDC, NIH, and so on have fluoride under attack
and possibly the biggest and most important legal battle surrounding fluoride in history. And then they dropped the ball big time. See, it wasn't until after I read all this and watched the depositions from the court cases that I started questioning much of this. I was watching these people like Jessica Donahue, she's deceased now, who was a top EPA scientist for the Office of Water from the EPA since 1993, large advocate for water. She agreed to the documents under oath that when she was asked, would you agree that this study right here adds further reason why we need to do a reassessment to the fluoride safety standard in the United States? She said, quote, this is verbatim, I think it's a reason for doing not just the United States, I think it's a reason for doing an upgrade to the fluoride assessment for everybody who's interested in fluoride and the need for regulation of fluoride exposure. And she was asked, making sure that fluoride is safe for consumption, and she says that people are not overexposed. So she agreed that there needed to be a reassessment to the fluoride. So it goes on, the CDC Director of Oral Health, Casey Han, he was asked, point blank, has there been any effects to show studies on the brain? And he says no. Up until 2019, there was no studies on pregnant women and the fetus. So if it's the most researched mineral in the world, why have the children studies not been done on pregnant women with fetuses or lower IQ in children? Now, there has been studies. So there's more to go on, but I urge everybody to look at it for themselves and make their own decision.
Anybody else? Last call. Anybody else? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. I will open up to council for comments.
I'm going to start with a question to the doctors, because we keep talking about the dental health, okay? So adding fluoride to the water decreases the problem of tooth decay. But can you talk to us about how dental health affects the rest of your health, like your cardiovascular health? Because we're really not just talking about, oh, they have a cavity. What's the overall effects for dental health?
Yeah, obviously, the mouth is connected to the body. It's not isolated. It can affect diabetes. There's various studies, and I'm trying to give you a short answer here. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's the entire system can be affected by infections. It can go to the brain. There have been deaths with untreated abscesses, on and on. So it's not just whether you get a cavity or not. It's your overall health. I hope that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
If I can add on to that,
yeah.
I'll just say in the mouth, there's a plethora of bacteria, as we all know, good and bad. But in the presence of bad bacteria, which is present when you have dental infections in the gums and in the teeth, that's why we have to pre-medicate patients who have had cardiac problems in the past, because when we disrupt bacteria in the mouth, we want the antibiotic in their system to prevent from exacerbating their heart condition. It's called a pre-medication for heart defects. Like they had an artificial valve, or they had mitral valve prolapse, or if they've had a recent cardiac surgery. The bacteria that gets displaced from the oral cavity and becomes bloodborne can infect the heart. It can also infect prosthetic joints. So we're trying to minimize the amount of dangerous bacteria in the mouth through preventative means.
I also want to go on the article that you just gave us. It's because it says 1 of 4 children living below the poverty level experiencing untreated tooth decay. But we don't live in a community with just 1 in 4 of children living in poverty. The demographics of our city is a lot more drastic than that. Let me read it here just a second. Our latest demographic data shows that 7% of our population is uninsured, which is 1,635 people. We have 20% of our children living in poverty. That is 5,139 children in our city that will be uninsured or underinsured. Over 5,000 of our children are probably already not receiving the medical care that they need. 62% of our children in this town qualify for free and reduced lunch. To give you an idea of what that means, those are the kids that are most likely on Medicaid. It doesn't mean that they necessarily are. They could have parents that are working and they still fall below that income requirement. However, if they qualify for free and reduced lunch, that means that they're still living in poverty. That these parents are not making choices that they necessarily want to make. I believe that every parent wants the best for their child, the absolute best, and they are doing the best that they can. But I'm going to tell you, as a single mom of 2 children, you are going to choose to feed your child before you choose to pay for a dentist. And that's just fact. I could not afford dental insurance for several years. And so instead of going the 2 times a year, my kids would go the 1 time a year, or you would stretch it out. Yeah, you make sure that they're brushing their teeth. However, that's the reality of Connersville, Indiana. That's who we're living with. That's our children. And I work with these kids. I see them. In fact, after our last April meeting, I had a class of 18, 19, and I went back and I just asked them, how many of you have been to the dentist in your life? Most of them raised their hand. I had 2 that did not, and they're 11, and they've never been to the dentist. I asked them, how many of you have been to the dentist this year? And 3 of them raised their hand. All of them should have. If they're going to the dentist, then all of them are going to be raising their hands within the 9 months that they're in my class. I understand people don't want to medicate other people's children, and you think that everybody should have that choice. But what choice do our underserved populations, what choice do they have? They are already doing the best that they can. So the only thing that's, in my opinion, really saving them is that you have the fluoride in the water. So that's.
I think without it, you'll see it.
This is council time, sorry. Can I ask you a question? If she asks, you can. No comments. Unless you want to ask him a question.
I don't have a question, I'm sorry.
I have to nip in the boat earlier, it get out of hand. Any other council?
To the dentist here. So, how many cups of water per day should someone drink?
Cups.
Ounces?
8 ounces in a cup. So how many cups should someone drink?
Well, I'm a diuretic, so I drink about 10. Most people should not drink that much. 4, 6.
So how many parts per billion? 0.7 being the obvious okay dose or whatever. How many parts per million would be in 1 cup?
It was a long time ago, when I got out of school. I will defer to our Indiana Department of Health, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
It's gonna be 0.7. If it's a cup, if it's 2 gallons, it's 0.7.
So at 0.7, I can drink as many gallons, ounces as I want, and my body never gets over
You can't drink too
0.7?
much water. I mean, water itself, if you drink too much water, is harmful, so. But no, it's gonna be, the level is gonna be 0.7 across, and regardless of how much. The volume, every bit of water, regardless of the size, it's gonna be 0.7 parts per million.
I guess I misunderstood your question, sorry. I thought you wanted me to do math. I can't do math this time. Yeah, if it were feasible to drink enough water for fluoride to hurt you, the water would kill you first, but thankfully it's not possible to drink that much water. So drink all the water you want, you're not going to get too much fluoride in a fluoridated community.
Correct. So I've seen the effects of somebody drinking too much water. I'm also curious to know, over a year's time, you yourself in the April 21st stated that there's a buildup. All these minerals, all these things, they don't go nowhere. They're absorbed by the body. So how much fluoride does the body absorb from the continual dosing of 0.7 in each cup of water that someone drinks?
I guess I did understand your question.
I mean, I'm just asking,
You already
in general to anybody.
Well, if there's, the best I can explain to you is if you're trying to talk about accumulation of fluoride causing an issue, fluoride is something that is, it goes into the mineralization of the teeth, and the dentist can better address that, but if you get a large amount, let's say you drink more than, twice that, whatever, the body excretes it quickly. So it's not an issue. That's not an issue.
So the natural minerals, which is also arsenic that comes out of water, is well known, I think we can all agree, is poison. How many doses can I take of that before it's too poisonous?
Well, arsenic, I have no idea. I don't deal with arsenic.
Right. So it's a mineral that's in the water that they try to filter out. But all these minerals, at some point, have some kind of damage on the body. Not just from the teeth up, but inside the body. Right? So the Cleveland Clinic states that routinely drinking water that contains more than 0.7 of fluoride is too much. Routinely drinking it. So that's why I asked, because I'm not seeing a study of how many ounces you're supposed to have of that. How much is too much of the fluoride?
I think the key is over 0.7. No one's recommending over 0.7.
Well, we're at 0.769, but
Well, people
I'm just
drink
asking
that
routinely.
much higher levels naturally all over the world. And in the state of Indiana, I've run across private wells that were 7 parts per million. I ran across a couple wells like that. But most of them are in natural fluoride in Indiana. If you go up towards the northeast, Blackford, Jay, Huntington, Wells County, those all have about 1 part per million naturally in the water, and people have been drinking that. People have been drinking water with fluoride in it since people have been drinking water. And so, you don't find a place that has none in the water. It usually varies about 0.1 to 0.2, depending on surface water tends to have less than groundwater, but that's kind of a general rule. So it's every source of water you drink, unless you get distilled or water or something like that. Every natural source has it to some degree.
So would it be safe to say that you don't know?
I know that I'm not a doctor, but with all of the reading that I've been looking for it, I can't find it, but it said, somewhere I've read, it would take 120 gallons of water a day to be overexposure.
So I don't plan on drinking 120 gallons of water. Right. But I'm sure that in a lifespan of 70, 80 years, how much have you consumed of the fluoride? Is there a study out
If
there?
you've lived 80 years, what difference does it make?
You're right.
You're
You're right.
Just don't get real technical.
But I think the point is,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Hold on.
You excrete it.
Excrete it, yeah.
It's like if you have vitamins, you take vitamins every day, you excrete most of those.
You get too much.
It's stored in the body.
Yeah,
or
it's stored in the body as well.
every bit of evidence.
Are you
Yes.
guys, yes, medical?
Okay, hold on.
I don't have to.
Okay.
Hold on,
So,
hey,
I get,
guys, hey,
Time out.
hey, public. I will call the meeting to order and end it if we don't stop, okay? Or I'll have you removed, one of the two. That'd be first. So let the councilman speak, one at a time. Do not talk over one another, please. If he asks a question, one person can answer, okay?
you can finish your thought.
I was just saying that you excrete it. It doesn't build up in your body. So it doesn't matter, on the regular drinking, that if you have some extra fluoride in there, it's excreted. Unless, you're on one of these places
where they give you way, 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 way too much, and then that overwhelms the natural defenses of your body. Does that make sense?
It does, and for me, it makes sense that it's not concrete on what level of what, for how much water. There's places that have too much, that the body can't excrete it, the body absorbs it. There's no concrete evidence that so much over my lifespan, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, all the way up to 80 or 90. So I feel like that both sides could go back at each other with all kinds of different arguments and things, so I have to go back to my basics of, I want to choose what I put in my body to the best I can, right? I want to choose what I do best for my child, okay? I understand that some children don't have that, but I'm talking for me, my child. I don't want you, I don't want any of these council members, I don't want anybody in government telling me what to do with my child, period. And because of that, I'm going to vote in support of this resolution.
Any other council, you done, sorry?
No.
Okay, any other council?
I've struggled with this the whole time. I was on council when we added fluoride. It was controversial then. We had people, this is really a small crowd compared to what we had the first time. We had people that blamed every death in their family for the last century on fluoride. And that's not feasible. I have an issue, as he does, with our determining medicinal contents of our water. Our job is to keep our water clean and safe. But I also feel, given the opportunity, although I don't think it's going to wipe tooth decay out, you can, and this is kind of a, I don't know, I'm not meaning this to be flip or anything, but you can lead someone to water, but you can't make them drink. And you're going to have problems no matter what, no matter what's done. I mean, we can do all kinds of preventative measures for everything, and we're still going to do what we want to do. I've kind of, like I said, I've struggled with it. I talked to Dr. Roberts before the meeting even, and I've struggled with this, but I did say I would listen, and I have, and I've gone back and forth to myself, and I guess I still believe that if you can't take care of all the problems, and you can't whatever, but we're here, and you have to weigh one against another. And you know a lot more about this. We can study all we want, but a lot of these reports and whatever you read, these studies, you can find a study that's going to tell you whatever you want to hear. You can find a study that's completely against fluoride. You can find one that it cures everything. To me, if I can lay my head down on the pillow at night and feel like I've done what I can do and feel comfortable and sleep without worrying about it, and if I can feel good with what I've done, which I did the last time. I don't do it for political reasons, because I was told because I voted for it the last time I'd never be reelected, and I'm on my fifth term, so I'm not worried about that. But I have to rely on the experts. And I think the two of the experts are sitting right there. You guys are experts in your field, but two of you are sitting right there. And it would be my inclination right now. And personally, I will say this too. I think eventually, and I mean, I want to hear this, but I think eventually it's going to be taken out. It may not be our decision to do it, but I think it's going to be, the trend is that it's going to be eliminated from. But at this point, I am back to where I was before to keep it.
Anybody else?
Well, I have to vote based on the majority of responses that I have gotten, and they had want it out, so I would have to vote yes.
Anybody else? Okay. If I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-38, the removal of fluoride based on principle of informed consent.
Motion.
Have a motion second. Let's do a roll call, please.
Wait a minute,
Sorry.
who made the second? Councilwoman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barrett?
No.
Councilman Williams Jr.?
No.
Councilwoman Phillips?
No.
Councilman Robb?
No.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilman Collins?
Yes.
It is no, 4-3.
Okay, motion dies. Resolution 2025-38 has been killed. Okay, move on down to old business. Anyone have any old business? Miscellaneous business? Public forum? I know it's been public forum. We have time. We are doing public forum. Same, it's just, anytime for public, same thing. Same time limit.
So do you still need my address?
Yes.
Okay. Donna Beaver.
She's gotta get ready.
Okay, Donna?
Okay.
Donna Beaver, 2176 Substation Road. I don't know if this is the correct form or not, but I would like to see the alley closed for a benefit running east and west at 515 Central on August 9th.
Okay, hold on a second. I need your name and number because this isn't the right place to do this.
Okay.
It's the meeting before.
No, this is
Really?
city council, board of works does all that.
Sorry. Donna Beaver, B-E-V-E-R. And my phone number is 765.
Probably shouldn't give you a number.
Here.
Yeah.
Go out of business. And it's August 9th.
Okay, I will call you, get the
Okay,
details. What is
great.
the street?
The alley right across the,
Between the foundation and...
Osmond's.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do food and stuff in the alley, so.
Okay.
Okay,
Give me a
great.
call.
Thank you.
Anyone else from public? If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So, second.
Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.